Hey everybody, it's Cosmic here, PAX West. Decided to check out the first game. One of my games I've been eyeing for a while. Elsie, I always want to call it Elise for some reason. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm here with, I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name is Alejandro. I'm lead programmer Elsie by Night Shift Games.
So thanks for having me, first of all.
That's great.
So, first of all, I want to gush about something. I love her hat. Who came up with her hat and the horns and the energy here?
The madman wearing a hat right here.
You right there, that guy
Right.
right
He just I just told him just give me a great design for a character, and he was just there, just in his room. A couple days, came out with great character, the horns, action pose. It was beautiful, and I was like, this is a perfect character.
Yeah, you're fine, dude. Yeah, I gotta agree. That's what drawed me when I saw it on Twitter, because I'm always scanning Twitter for the indie games.
Yeah.
And I saw the character, and I said, hold on, this looks dope. And so how long has this been game in development for?
So this version of the game, we've been working on it for the past 10 months. So everything you see is the product of since November of 2018. And yeah.
Okay, so would you say it's kind of is this in terms of progress, is this alpha state? Are we in beta? How close are we to the finished product?
So I don't know how we will define it, but it's getting pretty close to the early access.
Okay.
I would say this is more of it's a vertical slice of the game. This is the full experience condensed into one world. So the full game will be 5 worlds. Once we are done with the second world, that's when we'll hit early access and we'll move on from there.
All right, so it's going to come out in early access. Is it going to be a multi-platform game? Is this going to be Steam, Epic Game Store, itch.io?
So at the moment, the only plan we have is just releasing on Steam early access later this year. Once we have more of the game finished, we're planning on just developing the game early access for a year, doing weekly updates. Once that's done and everything's feature complete that we can actually full release on Steam, that's when we'll start working on the ports for Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Okay, so you guys want to go to every console,
Right.
Yeah. Are you guys aiming for a specific date for when the early access is?
Not yet, but we want to do it soon. No later than this year, hopefully. We just want to get player feedback as quick as possible. Us playing the game is great, but we need mass feedback because this game is so mechanically heavy and so dense. We need people to test out every possible option there.
All right, so let's just dive into the deep. I've played it twice now today. The first time I lasted a minute 30. I lasted 2 minutes this time, so I'm a little proud of myself. So this is, in my brain, I'm going to compare this to very megaman-esque. Pretty much, I only think of Mega Man when I see this game, but it doesn't feel like Mega Man.
Right.
What are all the inspirations behind Elsie?
So a main inspiration for this game is more roguelikes than Mega Man. Definitely we like the Mega Man flair and the basic mechanics of it, but I wanted the game to be its own beast. I want it to be our interpretation of what Mega Man could be like in 2019. So we basically grabbed elements of Mega Man and all the modern roguelikes like Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, and some cool mechanics from Hollow Knight, and we just mix it onto this game.
Okay, yeah, I can see some of those because I personally really love roguelikes. That's the second thing. First thing was the hat. Second thing was it was a roguelike because you get a lot of value out of those.
Right.
When you get older, I'm only 25. I'm only 25 here, but when you get older, man, and it's just work, it's what am I going to dive into? An 80-hour JRPG on the weekend? Maybe. I'll have to convince my whole weekend. But if I do roguelites, I can bounce around. I can play it for a long time, and I can always get what I want out of it. Was Elsie always going to be a roguelike?
Yeah, so it's always going to be a roguelike. there's no plan like for anything else, but the idea is like each run should be like around 45 to an hour long. It's like for like those people like that don't have too much time. Like some other roguelikes that have like 2-hour long run, 3-hour long runs. Like we want it to be like a more condensed experience than that. You don't have to like focus too much, on one sitting.
So to beat it, you're thinking a lot shorter than a Binding of Isaac run where you go through all the levels.
Right, so like the average Binding of Isaac run, like for like an experienced player, takes like around like 45 to an hour, and that's sort of where we want to aim for like a more experienced player. Like if you're new, obviously it can take a little bit longer. But like we want like quick run-throughs to be between 30 to 45 minutes, a bit faster than Isaac.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was playing today, we have the pistol, and she has a special ability where I think it's just a area of effect attack on the Y. Are we going to see a lot of different weapons and styles to play with?
Yeah, so the game currently has 16 weapons, all with unique firing styles and unique abilities. And there's also 16 different skills. They're just like later down, like in the level.
Oh, so where I didn't get to it because I died 2 minutes in. All right, that's fair.
There's like over like 150 items in the game, all with unique effects. There's no 2 items that are similar. There's like only like maybe like 2 or 3 items that are just plain stat boosts. Everything else is like actual moveset modifiers, and that's like where the game like takes its most pride. Like just we offer the player more unique and interesting options for items and customization in your build.
What about okay? Other question here. So Elsie only attacks left, right. She has a down attack, as you showed me now, and a dash. The other weapons in the game, are there going to be different types, or is it always going to be like left, right for the most part?
So every weapon is pretty different. Some weapons, they actually do their special ability is to change what direction they fire in.
Okay.
And those are like the more complicated advanced weapons. There's weapons that fire upwards and only upwards. So now it's like, the advantage you wanted is actually your disadvantage. You can't shoot left or right anymore. And we just play around a lot with the formula. We have like attacks that fire out sine wave bullets. There's everything.
Okay, let's talk about the enemy design here. It seems very cyberpunk, and it has like a hint of anime kind of inspired. Like maybe I always want to call this art style pastel. I don't think it's the correct thing, but that's what my brain thinks. I think maybe it's better saying it's cell shaded, but I don't think it's cell shaded. So
I wouldn't be able to put my finger too much on it. I would just throw it to my art director. He's the one just handling like all the art for the game.
So my name is Bryant. I'm the lead artist. So all the visual assets that you see here were designed by myself. I designed the main character. I did all of her animations. I designed all the background assets, all the foreground assets, and then with the help of my friend Pedro here.
Yes. Hello.
He definitely helped out with a lot of like the pickup items and a lot of the effects work and stuff like that, which is a lot of work for Elsie. It's a roguelike action platformer, so this is definitely geared towards hardcore gamers. So there's a ton of different upgrades and pickups that modify the gameplay. So I definitely needed a little help with that.
all right, so to Alejandro over here, I was gushing about the art style. One of the first things I'm going to talk about, because I love it so much, is the hat.
Oh, yeah.
I love Elsie's hat, and I'm already going to ask that when you guys make it big, because I know it's going to be big. I love this game. I've died. I suck at it. But
it's very difficult. I suck at this game.
When you guys make it big, please make the hat merchandise.
Oh, absolutely. So when they brought me in, they already had some assets that they were working with somebody else. But they wanted to do a full redesign of everything. So I started with the main character, and when I was looking for inspirations, it's actually the hat that I'm wearing on my head right now. So this blue plastic visor with that that raincoat material on top, and that was actually one of like the leading inspirations for her design. So thank you, thank you very much.
I found that's the first thing I saw on Twitter. I scan Twitter for indie games all the time, so I can do my best to help because I love them. And I saw the character, I saw the hat, and it got me. And then the fact that it's the roguelite, it got me, and I gush.
Thank you so much. I mean, I would definitely love to have this hat be merch, and definitely get the horns going and everything.
It'd be cool to have some LEDs in it too, right?
So they light up? Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, so let's talk about the enemy design here. I was talking to Alejandro about it, and he passed me to you.
Yeah.
So I got this. It's cyberpunk and like anime.
Yes.
And this is what my brain goes to right here, because with Elsie's coloring and art style, I know it's not right. I know it's not cel shaded, but it looks like pastel to me. Part of her. So where did a lot of inspiration for the art come from? Like, how did you come up with it?
So, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that you were able to pick up on those things. I mean, those genres are some of my favorite. Sci-fi, especially with that cyberpunk dystopian sort of look, as well as anime. Anime is a huge inspiration for a lot of the work that I do. With Elsie, I was really just trying to build a really colorful world, something where everything sort of pops, but has a balance within it itself. So hopefully, I was able to touch on that balance. But I pull from so many things when it comes to inspiration from this game. Every different item or enemy or any single asset that I work on before I begin any work on it, it's all research. So I will hop onto Pinterest and just be on there for as long as it takes until I find the right combination of colors and aesthetic that I'm really looking for. But yeah.
I was looking at these enemies. I didn't see all the enemies. All right, I made it 2 minutes in, brother. And a lot of the enemy design seems I gotta get the word right here. I've already touched on with Alejandro here about Mega-Man aesthetic designs, like from the bees, I believe there were, kind of reminded me of Mega Man. But also it's kind of like Darksidery's like mythological with like what was like a Valkyrie in there.
So we definitely want to play on the bio-organic meets tech sort of feel. So we'll have a lot of enemies that will either be very robotic with like a touch of some sort of like creature, something alive, something organic. Mostly, whenever I create any assets, I like to think about what is the common idea of what that asset should look like, and then I try my very best to avoid that. Just to come up with something totally unique, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes it kind of screws me over because then I end up, taking a long walk around to come to a simple solution, But it yields pretty good results.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna guess there's bosses in this game.
There are bosses. In this demo right here, we do have one boss battle set up. If anybody can make it to that room, then they are,
All right, so give me a taste of what, I haven't seen it yet. What is the boss, this first boss in here, what's the design like for the bosses?
Got you. So one of the things, the priority when I started working on this project was a full redesign of everything. So the boss that you fight in this demo is actually the original boss. We have the first world boss already redesigned, and some of the animations are going, but it was a little too ambitious to get ready in time for PAX. For PAX, we wanted to have the full experience feel very well balanced. So the boss in here is still very difficult, got lots of really cool animations and stuff, but the scope of just getting this first world ready for PAX, it was definitely a challenge that we definitely were just working towards together as a team.
So I think Alejandro's playing like a cheat build right here in front of us, I'm pretty sure. Did you have anything to do with the particle effects? Did you work on those, or was that more...
So the particle effects, that is all our programmer here, Alex. This boy loves his particles, man. And there's certain things that we definitely need to keep him in check with. He's such a talented gamer himself. So he's definitely into the hardcore gamer experience. That's why this is a roguelike, you know. So as you can see, he's just like tearing through this game. I mean, it's intense. He's definitely like, our target demographic for this game is hardcore gamers, people that are looking for the punishment, you know, that can handle the constant disappointment, only to like come out on top.
So you're targeting the Dark Souls crowd, and are you ready for people to start saying it's the Dark Souls of blank games? Are you ready for that comment?
I'm so ready for that. I know that currently that title goes to Cuphead. Everybody's, that's the Dark Souls of run and gun sort of experience. And I, for one, am a huge Cuphead fan. But I would not be mad if people started referring to this as the Dark Souls of like a megaman-esque, you know.
So it's more of a compliment. See,
absolutely.
I've never really. It's my first time talking to any dev, so thanks to you guys.
Oh no.
But I've always, because you see it, and like as a consumer, I kind of get tired of seeing things compared to Dark Souls, and you never know if the artists and people behind it are like, please stop or please keep going.
Well, for us, frustration is a good thing. You know, we want everything to be fair and balanced. Like somebody alive needs to be able to beat it. You know, but we're definitely looking to create an experience where the player has to struggle for it. That way, their victory is that much sweeter. You know. So it's definitely a good thing when people start cursing and get all frustrated and stuff like that, as long as it's for the right reason.
Yeah, let's see, that's good enough. So now I know, it's not always the worst to be like, oh yeah, we got that Dark Souls target audience.
Definitely not.
What do you want to gush about right now? If I haven't touched on anything, any part of the art, what would you gush about and say, hey, look at this?
The background, for sure. So if you'll notice to the background, here, can you stay in this room for a sec? So all the elements are subtly, they're vertically parallaxing upwards and downwards. The reason why I'm so proud of the background is because it is a massive project just to get that background done. Every single cloud is its own unique color. There's buildings floating around. There's a ton of craziness going on back there. It's just a bunch of destruction. Everything's broken up into about 17 different layers, so it just feels alive. It feels movement, you know. It's definitely one of my proudest accomplishments so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's deserved. I was zoned into actually trying to beat it, so seeing you talk about it and seeing all the parallaxing and whatnot. It's really good. For some reason, I'm starting to think of Earthbound now that I focus in on the background. One thing about me is I like color, so I gotta thank you for popping color.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes, games do have the muddy brown, grays, greens.
Right.
And it is for dark games, and this is I guess it's technically an apocalyptic game.
Yeah.
I reckon. But I love color, and that's why I love Elsie so much, is that she's pinks. She's dark blues, she's whites, she's blacks. Everything about it, it's
all of the indie faves, definitely. Lots of purples, pinks, cyans. It's very neon in a dark sort of theme, I guess. This is the results.
So, one thing to touch on earlier, we were talking about enemy designs and mechanic and the human organic. Is that tying to the narrative, like the narrative of Elsie here?
Absolutely. So right now we're not releasing too much about the narrative. However, I can say that she is an android. We're definitely going to be adding elements of the narrative for you to experience seamlessly throughout the gameplay as well. And Yeah, it takes place in the far future, definitely a dystopian setting, where this area is under attack, and you're trying to find out why.
Yeah, my name is Pedro Guerra, and I'm one of the art designers and it's like social media manager for Night Shift.
Okay, so I've annoyed you already on.
Oh no, I mean definitely not annoyance. You're more than welcome.
All right, because all right, brother. So, what do you personally love about the game you got on your hands here?
Definitely love the art. The art style I think is really compelling. It definitely draws people in. And then like the gameplay style, it harkens back to like the megaman-esque, right? That's like one of our biggest comparisons. But then it's like Mega Man with a twist, where like all the levels are procedurally generated. You get a lot of power-ups, you get a lot of items, a lot of abilities. So it definitely has a lot of more depth than Mega Man, while trying to still tap into that like nostalgia.
So I was talking to Brian and Alejandro over here about like how it's going to be compared to Dark Souls, and they loved it. They loved the comment that people say it's the Dark Souls of blank games or whatever, and they said it's more of a compliment. How do you feel about when the games are hard, and about your game coming up here, about it being compared to Dark Souls probably?
So, I mean, if it's compared to Dark Souls, that's cool, man, because a lot of people do like Dark Souls, but it really depends, right? Like, do they like Dark Souls? Awesome. If they don't like it, I mean, maybe it's not for them, but we really would like just everybody to give this a shot, whether it's compared to Dark Souls or not, right? So, I mean, if they think that it's a Dark Souls-like game, hey, it's whatever they feel it is, right? They're projecting, what they feel onto the game, and I think that's awesome, because you're trying to connect with it anyway.
Okay, so the design right now we have, since you're art director alongside here, Brian, obviously this is probably the final design here, or what you guys are going with. Is this your favorite of how Elsie's looked over her development?
Over there, yes, 100%. Elsie, the character, is looking amazing. That's definitely our favorite. A lot of the art, funny enough, for like the level itself is not finalized. There's still a long way to go for refinement.
Okay.
But I think Elsie right now is at the best moment that she's ever been in history, in her like development history.
When she first started out, how drastically different did she look?
It was a completely different character.
Completely different?
Completely different character, different shape, different colors, different environment, different everything. This game has gone through an insane overhaul artistically and gameplay-wise.
How long, overall has it been in development for?
So I've been in this, so after the entire rehaul, we basically started from scratch about 10 months ago. Okay. So this current iteration has been in the works for 10 months, more or less. Yeah. The concepts has gone back further time, but yeah, it's 10 months. 10 months development time is what you're seeing here.
And is it just how much of a team is here? Is it
we
four?
We have four out of the six.
Okay.
Or four, yeah.
The other two couldn't join us today?
The other two cannot join us. They couldn't make the travel. So
that's fair. Hey, you guys told me you were from Florida.
Yeah, we're from Florida. So going from one opposite end of the continental U.S. to the other, it's taxing.
Very taxing. Final things. If you could say anything to people about Elsie, what would you say, brother?
So I think Elsie is a game that I think everybody's going to find some love to it. It definitely is a practice makes perfect game. You have to really sit down and get used to all the controls, get used to all the mechanics. But once you get there, you're going to unlock something that I think is going to be extremely engaging and just really fun to look at. Right, and it's really great. And if anybody is interested in more stuff, they can always follow us on Twitter at Night Shift Team, or join up our Discord. It's on our website. Just go us through Twitter and you'll find us.
All right, thanks, man.